And let's head out to the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? River Islands in Lathrop. Joining us right now is Sal Castaneda, KTVU news anchor. He was all over the Ricky Pearsall situation on Saturday. What's going on, Sal? How's it going?
Not much, Steiny Guru.
Hey.
Yeah, I happen to be paying attention to something else. There was a plane crash at about the same time, and one of my buddies tipped me off to that. And then, so I was already engaged in, the whole news gathering stuff. And then the Pearsall thing came down at about the same time. So, it was kind of like I already had the devices up and in my hand, and I was able to hear it all kind of as it happened.
So what do we know? That Ricky Pearsall was in Union Square and he was approached by a 17-year-old who wanted to steal his watch. There was a confrontation and both guys got shot. Is that, are there any more details than that at this point?
Yeah, he was shopping at this high-end luxury store called Verona. They make really expensive suitcases. And he'd also gone to Louis Vuitton. And he was carrying bags and he was wearing a Rolex and, unwittingly made himself a target. Ricky Pearsall is 6'1". He's not a small dude. He's pretty well built. And this 17-year-old kid allegedly saw an easy target, had a gun, and thought it would be easy. But what he did, the kid didn't know is that because of all the political pressure with, crime in Union Square, there were a lot of police officers really close by, and the first responder, the first person who reached them was a woman, Sergeant Joelle Harrell, who had been on the force for 25 years. She ran when she heard the gunshots and got to Pearsall right away and put her hand on the wound. And Pearsall actually asked her, "Am I going to die?" I can't imagine being shot. Wow. I've never been shot. But he asked her, "Am I going to die?" And she said, "No, it's not your time. Look at me, listen to me, hold on, be strong like you are on the football field." So she sprung into action and calmed him down because she wanted him to stay calm. She got on the radio, and within minutes, the place was flooded with cops.
Wow, Sal, I caught her interview. It was emotional, and I mean this. I'm from the Bay Area, born and raised. I work in the city, as you know, and walk the streets. Steiny doesn't even know this. I'm still shook by this story, and by the blessings of God, Ricky Pearsall kept his life. Just think about that. The bullet went through and through. I had never heard that term. Sal, my question to you is, I had to get off social media because people are making this political, but Steiny brought up a profound point earlier about how far does this go? A pro athlete getting shot, almost lost his life. How bad of a deal is this for, and I hope people don't think I'm being insensitive. I'm not, but future free agents wanting to come to San Francisco, how much damage do you think was done by this story from other athletes possibly coming here, making this place home?
Yeah, I'd like to think it's not going to have as much of an impact that way. San Francisco is a big city. Miami is a big city. New York is a big city. There's certainly crime in all the big cities out there. But I do think it'll have an effect as to, hey, don't be flashing your wealth. And this is not blaming the victim. I mean, right. You really should be able to do whatever you want at any time. But the sad reality is when I go down to Union Square, I dress down, right? I don't drive the fancy car. Wow. I shouldn't have to do that, but that's the way it is, right? You're getting out of, these Louis Vuitton store and you're wearing a Rolex and some 17-year-old kid who thinks he's a tough guy is going to come up on you. That's all bad. The city shouldn't be that way. Nevertheless, I'm not going to be doing that. And I think that's going to go a long way in teaching these guys to dress it down a little bit.
Wow. Sal Castaneda joining us on 95.7 The Game, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Let me just ask you this, and I was just wondering this as we head toward, the election in November. Is this something that's going to get traction politically between now and the election of another indication of one of our cities, not even safe enough for a professional football player to walk through?
I don't see how it can, obviously, in today's environment. I think that London Breed is the mayor, and her opponents have wasted no time in saying, you see, this is what needs to be fixed. The mayor isn't doing enough. You have the other candidates coming on and saying this is unacceptable. And London Breed knows that, is there ever good timing for something like this to happen? Absolutely not. But she probably wishes it wouldn't have happened now with a few months to go to the election. I mean, politics is politics. And this just kind of reminds people that San Francisco has a reputation. This is not doing anything for the national reputation of San Francisco. It's actually bringing more and more people back after it had died down. I don't know if it's fair because all cities have big crime, but it is what it is. London Breed's opponents are certainly seizing this opportunity. That's for sure.
Sal, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to be honest because, the thought went through my mind Saturday as I was getting all the news. The Niners had a party at Kyle's house, and it was already planned. And by all accounts, John Lynch was at the hospital with one Ricky Pearsall. And, Rick Ross was there, one of the rappers from Miami, and he posted it on his IG. And a lot of people were up in arms like, why did you go through with the party? I guess I'm just asking, and I'm not judging the Niners. And maybe they celebrated that, he avoided disaster. But did you have that thought when you saw those pictures come up and the rest of the team was having a party as one of their guys was laid up in the hospital?
Well, I didn't, it didn't offend me. I don't offend easily, as Steiny knows. It didn't offend me. I think that, especially after it came out that he was going to be okay, I think they went ahead with the party.
Right.
What I really take away from it is why is a 17-year-old kid driving from Tracy 60 miles away to come commit crime in one of the busiest policed areas? Obviously, this kid had no idea what he was doing. That place when you go down there, there's a lot of cops there. And now they've doubled the cops there, right? So this was obviously an amateur job. The kid was wearing slides. This is the point that I said. He was wearing slides, and he ran away. He left his slides, so they were able to easily identify the kid because he was one of the only people running around with no shoes. So they tracked him down about a block away. So, obviously, very amateur job. He was shot himself by his own gun. Reportedly, he's a member of a gang out there in Tracy. So this is all bad, right? It could have been a lot worse. We could be talking about a dead person right now, maybe two dead people. So this is what gets me. Why are people coming to San Francisco to commit crime?
Wow.
Has it made it that easy, that much of a calling card that you have to come out to San Francisco? And by all accounts, the guy didn't know that Ricky was a football player. He just saw a guy with a Rolex and a couple of Louis Vuitton bags.
Sal, right. But real quick, Steiny, nothing's worse than Ricky getting shot. But this same guy got caught with a gun days before and was released. Just think about I'll just let that there. Like, okay, this is what you do after that. That's what's so disappointing in all this too. Well,
just being on this earth for a long time, we go through phases, and I think people now, especially since crime has become an issue, are looking more critically at these kind of things. Yeah. Why was he out of jail in the first place? We especially in San Francisco, where one of you guys brought up it's a political issue to be safe on the streets. So yeah, I don't know why they let him out. I'm sure that's going to come out. Right. I mean, let's just be honest. If it hadn't been Ricky Pearsall, the person who was shot, this would have maybe gotten a little bit of news coverage, and that's it. But now everything is going to be examined super closely.
Yeah.
Sal, let me ask you this, and you might not have the answer, but I it's hard for me to understand getting shot and then you leave the hospital a day later. I mean, you've probably seen, unfortunately, a number of these. Do we have any idea, when Ricky Pearsall could play again? And the only reason I'm asking that question is because he is at home right now, apparently, after getting released from the hospital.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be they put him on some sort of a list where he's not going to be able to play for 4 games.
Right.
But I don't know the answer to when he really will be able to play. I don't, fortunately, I've never been shot. I don't know anyone who is close enough. I'm sure doctors will be able to say, but I know that he was extremely lucky for him to be shot. It went through his chest, came out his back, did not have any major arteries or organs, and they released him from the hospital a day later. That shows to me that, okay, well, it might have been, really, really lucky that nothing bad happened to him, and he may indeed be able to play in 5 weeks. Super fortunate.
Yeah. Sal, speaking of playing, before we let you go, I got to get your prognosis on this season. Steiny asked me were the holdouts of Ayuk and Trent Williams, who's due in town to sign a new contract. Do you think this will impact the season? I'm excited. Monday night we'll be out there against the Jets. The world will be watching. What are your thoughts and vibe on this Niner team going into this season?
Well, I hope it's going to be good. I remember when Bosa held out last season, we came up right until the very end, and he didn't have the year. He would tell you this himself. He didn't have the year he wanted to have. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same with Ayuk, who signed last week, or with Trent Williams, and I'm hoping it's not because, I'm a 49ers fan, but it could. Trent Williams never plays preseason anyway, so I think it's going to be okay. One thing that I just, keep thinking about in this first game coming up is the Jets are a whole lot tougher than people think they are. It's not the same old Jets. They have a really good defense, and it's going to be a good game.
Sal Castaneda, appreciate the time, my man.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, that's Sal Castaneda, courtesy of the River Islands guest line.